Hey, welcome to the backyard chicken coop. Um, I don't think I've met all of you. I've met some of you. We've had conversations in chat, and I appreciate that. You guys coming by my shorts and hanging out, and um, I really enjoy it. Making the chicken videos in the shorts, but um, I want to talk about chickens and dogs. If you can raise a dog, if you have the area in your backyard, if you are allowed by law to raise chickens in your community, if you're allowed to raise a dog and have a dog in an enclosure on your property by law, it's your fenced in yard. It's your property. You can have a dog. That's why you got a yard with a fence, so you can have a dog. Am I right? I know I chose a property one time because of a dog. All right, so let's put that right there. If you have the room to have a dog and you are legally permitted to, you could also have chickens. I love dogs. I've had dogs for years. And I am a dog lover, dog owner. This is fenced and concreted around the bottom because I'm a dog owner. But after me and Mrs. Medic had been married a couple of years, probably about 7. So this is a 3-year, yeah. So 7 years ago, 3 years ago, we've been married 7 years, and she wanted to do chickens. She threw the idea out there to me, do chickens. But if you want to raise chickens and you have the room for a dog, but you're in between dogs, build a coop and get some chickens. I mean, first check with your local magistrate or courts, or just find out from neighbors or friends. Make sure your HOA approves you having chickens instead of dogs, or doesn't even want you having, make sure that there's a, no livestock policy in your HOA. I get it. That's, don't get me started on HOAs. Don't get me started on HOAs. You guys, let's stick to chickens and dogs. If you can have dogs, you can have chickens. And if you want to raise meat chickens, that's fine. But if you want to raise like egg chickens, we have in a almost 1 acre lot. Put the house on that same, I got 150 feet of fence going back and 150 and 300 across the back. So I don't, you do the math. And then we got that roped off with the garden, and then we have a chicken coop, which we call it the Taj Mahal of chicken coops, but you could do a chicken coop with just a utility shed, believe it or not. They just have to have somewhere safe and high up to go, and ventilated, so they can sleep at night and feel comfortable. I mean, we built chicken knocks back here, I promise you, but we get high winds and storms, and we built it with screws instead of nails. It was easier for us to deal with a drill that needed, the battery charged every night, or before the weekend. And we get out there, battery charged, all the screws and wood we could get from Lowe's. But you don't have to do all that. You can make, some kind of pallet thing. You can take a shed that you find off the side of the road, bang the dents out of it, throw a pallet in the bottom of the floor, and then put some bars across the top. Throw some hay on the pallet, and you've got a chicken coop. They don't care. Make a small hole so they can get in. And then you've already got a fenced-in area because you had dogs, right? We're talking about people who could have dogs should also have chickens, or could also have chickens. So if you can raise a dog in a fenced area, you can raise chickens. And you get eggs every day. And you have to, I would, 5. I guess I would start, we started with 10 and had no problem, but 5. I've had 3 dogs on this property, so I figured we could actually start with 6, and we came back with, what, 9 and a goose? And our goose is still here. Cost to feed them, about $12 a month. They go through a bag of feed about 1 a month, 1 every 3 weeks. So I don't know how much dog food and vet bills. There's no vet bills. They die and you scrape them up, and you know, we don't bury our chickens, and we don't cook our dead chickens either, because they're not meat chickens. I'm talking raising chickens for eggs in a small chicken coop where you can, you know, give them a place to have a little privacy. You know, some milk cartons or something. Hell, an old tire will do. They don't care. They need about 2 or 3 to choose from, and they'll usually just use one. It's too funny. Water. Okay, so you got to water a dog too, right? You got to put out water for a dog. You don't have to do what we did, but you know, if you're going to water a dog, you can water chickens. A 5-gallon or 10-gallon bucket with a couple of spigots in it, and the chickens have water for days. And they don't give a shit if it gets a little mooky. They don't care. They drink out of that damn tub in there. They don't care. You know, you just make sure you check it. 7-gallon bucket from Lowe's. Buy a packet of, you know, little dippers. You figure out which ones you want. We went with the cups, and I would think I would go with the ones where once they get used to it, as chicks, where to get water from, they'll learn, and the other chicks will learn from them, and you know, you start a whole thing that they know exactly where and how to drink from water. The cups get shit all in them, but anyways, you know, when they get empty, they you know, they fill up, and then they get empty and they fill up again, you know, and then you just worried about the bucket. We went all elaborate. We've got a whole pump system and everything like that. You don't got to do what I did, but if you want chickens and you've already done dogs, and you've got a fenced-in area, and your HOA says it's okay, or you live in a county and not under an HOA, but isn't that kind of rare, then you can have chickens and get free eggs. No, I'm sorry. There's no such thing as a free egg. Let me hear you, chicken owners, in the chat, in the comments. There's no such thing as free eggs. They don't cost you as much, and you ain't got to run to the store to get them, but there's no free eggs. You know, sometimes you don't eat a lot and you have extra and you can give some away, but you're not going to make any schedule on 5 or 6 chickens in your backyard. I'm just saying, you know, that's about a half a dozen. Maybe you eat 2 or 3 a day. I don't know. We could probably go through half a dozen. Easy. We put them in salads, eat them, you know, eat them boiled, eat them fried, put them in sandwiches. We eat, you know, we love eggs. We both love eggs. And pancakes. We both love pancakes too. Dogs or chickens? Now you have to decide. It's very relaxing also. I mean, then there's chicken drama, and you know what you get with 5 or 6 chickens. I have 1 rooster. I used to have 4, so that's a whole nother deal. You know, very good. My rooster's getting some right now. Anyways, I'm gonna cut some of this or a lot of this out, so, but roosters can be a situation you have to deal with also. But you can usually find a farm close if you're in a rural area where you can have chickens or dogs in your backyard, then you're probably rural enough to find somebody that's actually got a chicken house or needs a rooster. Just put them on Facebook Marketplace. I swear to God, somebody will answer you. And just say no shipping. That means you're not going to get somebody to want to put, I'm not putting no chicken in a box and sending it. I'm not putting no rooster in a box for you. You come here with whatever you got and take my, anyway. So that's my opinion, obviously. And you have to do a little bit of checking. I'm very fortunate I can have chickens in my backyard. But I had dogs and never even thought about chickens. And now that I have chickens, I wouldn't even think about dogs. I mean, I don't know. You could probably raise a puppy with the chickens and stuff. I mean, but where he gets his ass kicked all the time, or she, because I wouldn't have, but that's no way to have a dog, and I'm not going to, we're good. You can get people to come and get your eggs and make sure your chickens have water and food. You can go away. That's another, I was going to end this here, but that's another point. If you have chickens, it's easy to find somebody to check on the food and water for your chickens and collect your eggs. All you got to pay them in is eggs. You collect all the eggs and you take them. You'll probably find that they leave you most because they're like, wow, how do they eat all these eggs? So they'll take all the eggs they want, but you'll still have eggs no matter how long you're away. If you want to go to Thailand for 30 days, or if you want to go to Singapore, you want to get on a boat and travel for, extended, you've got people that will come and help you, just check on your water. And as long as you're not doing it for 6 months at a time, but within reason. But having somebody do that for a dog is a little bit, harder to do. And that's why sometimes you got to get rid of roosters, because nobody wants to deal with your rooster when you're not there. Exactly. Mine is not aggressive at all. I got rid of 2 aggressive ones, and one that was just kind of chill until God, he's so funny. He's a good little soundbite. But nobody wants to watch your chickens if they got to battle some rooster, I promise. So make sure you have an avenue to get rid of roosters if you're going to hatch eggs at if you collect eggs every day and crack them open, or don't let them get, even if they're fertilized, they'll just have a little red hunky part in the egg. It doesn't change the taste of, and they're much better than any grocery store egg you could get. But if you get eggs every day, you're not going to have new chicks. So you can avoid new chicks and just, but if you decide to let one of your broody chickens, and they'll get broody, they want to sit on eggs, and they'll give you a little bit of a problem, just a little bit. You wear gloves anyways when you collect eggs. It's just part of having chickens. You put on a pair of gloves and go deal with the chickens. That way nothing cross-contaminates into the house. Just little things. Little things along the way. Well, thank you for coming to my chicken TED Talk. If you'd like to have more information, I'm at VBCMEDIC on YouTube and Twitch. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the channel. And in the comments, anything that I said that you have questions about, by all means, let me know in the comments. So as the rooster takes us out, you guys, thank you very much for coming. Have a great day.